Welcome agents to another recap of today's state of the game, where the developers talked about the recent communication survey. They talked about how state of the game and communication generally might change. They also talked about some changes coming to Negotiator's Dilemma in PvP, among some other things. So today I wanted to recap all of that stuff. If you enjoy this one, please drop a like, subscribe for dedicated Division 2 content, and let's begin. So, as usual today, guys, I'm just going to go through the notes that I wrote down whilst watching today's state of the game, and we're going to go through everything, and I'll obviously give you my opinions on stuff that I agree or don't agree with, essentially. So, let's start off with Hamish Bode was with Chris Gansler today, and they started off with the priority alerts. Now, first off, we had a maintenance today, and they did confirm that maintenance will be changing from here on in. Maintenance will now be on Tuesdays instead of Thursdays, and for the Division 1 they'll be on Thursdays instead of Tuesdays. Division 1 normally you get a maintenance every couple of weeks or so, so that's really the only change with maintenance. But in respect to the maintenance notes, so first we got fix an issue that caused flares to be stuck and clip with agents' bodies after the signal flare emote animation was interrupted. We got fix an issue with the Dark Zone perks available at base of operations notification would display despite having no perks. That is a very frustrating one that I've seen for myself, and I know the community's been talking about, so glad to see that one fixed. Fix an issue that caused characters' faces to become distorted after cutscenes. Fix an issue where the social menu did not function when accessed in a downstate in a pre-made group. Fix an issue where players were unable to share gear mods. Fix an issue where the players that purchased Year 1 Pass were unable to activate the Tactician specialization on any world tier. I bet that's a frustrating one. And fix an issue where the donation tabs from any projects that require gear items did not show the correct equipment. And then lastly, fix an issue that would cause crashes when engaging enemy NPCs in co-op challenging difficulty at Lincoln Memorial. Now those are the main maintenance stuff today. They did go on to obviously talk about the priority alerts here. So Kenley College, which actually reopened Tuesday just gone. There was previously issues with the Diamondback being kind of available. After TU6, when Kenley College came out, the Diamondback was basically available to everyone. You didn't even have to go through Kenley College. You just go straight to the chapel and you could get it. Well, they fixed that, but with that there was a bug that was caused where even if you did Kenley College, you couldn't actually access the chapel after completion. What they've said is that should be fixed now. However, if you have completed Kenley College since Tuesday, you may have to, and this is a bug that you've encountered, you may have to complete Kenley College again in order to access the chapel, but generally, you know, it should be fixed. Now, then they went on to talk about Negotiator's Dilemma in PvP and how they're going to look to balance that and address that. So the changes that they're looking to make is that the Blowback talent is going to be updated. They're going to be changing the behaviors of the launch grenade as well. Now what they've said is that the grenade will not explode immediately on contact. I think there's going to be a 2-second fuse timer that's going to be added, which should allow you to actually dodge the grenade as well. There will be a UI update as well, which will show you that the grenade is coming. And they've confirmed that if the fuse has not run out by the time the grenade hits the floor, it'll kind of just sit there. So that should make it better, and I'm glad that they've made this change, because I've got to admit, Negotiator's Dilemma in PvP was a real pain. There's nothing worse than you know, killing someone with that and then being taken down yourself with this grenade that has just come out of nowhere, essentially. So really glad that they've looked to address that there. So good news. Then they confirmed that special ammo in the ODZ is on their radar as well. They kind of looked at chat for this one. They didn't give a whole lot, but they just said special ammo is a problem. It's on their radar as well, and they want more info about that. Current bugs, NPCs stuck in missions and invisible walls, especially in the Dark Zone. What they want is examples to help identify the issue. They've had quite a few examples already, but the more the merrier, and they can look to obviously get this fixed as well. Recording gameplay on Xbox One didn't actually record audio, and this was an issue their end. Initially they thought it was an issue on the Xbox, but actually it's an issue their end. They found a fix, and they're hoping it will come in the next update. Free apparel not being collectible in the world. They confirmed that there are 72 items within the world to collect that are free. When the patch goes live, which they haven't confirmed when it will be, but when the next patch goes live, they have fixed this, so if you don't have the 72 items, they should be collectible from the world. Stats not showing in the raid after TU6. Now, at the moment, you may or may not be aware that on PC there is a run time of around 4 minutes which on the raid, which is basically impossible. And the reason why it's impossible is because it would take longer to kind of walk or go through the missions essentially and walk that distance. Now, what they've said is that they need to figure out how this has happened. You know, they're aware that this could possibly be cheating. It could possibly be, you know, that they disconnected and somehow it's, you know, saved their time, or it could just be an issue with how the stats are showing. So what they're going to do is they're going to investigate that. Obviously, if this is cheating, then there'll be some implications. But what they're probably going to do is they're going to remove that 4-minute time for now, and they're going to figure out what's happened there. And they also said that they're going to need to be careful because they don't want to remove, you know, stats there that have been warranted correctly, but that's something they're investigating currently. They went on to talk about the PC4 servers. Apparently there's still blue screens happening since TU6. Again, they require more details about this, i.e. the region and the activities you're playing, and this is going to be investigated. And that was it for the issues and the maintenance part of the show. And this is kind of where we get into the meat of State of the Game. Now, they didn't really do the developer interview part with this because it was kind of just a chat with Chris Gansler, and it was mainly about what they're going to do regarding communication with the players. Now, if you've been watching me for some time, certainly recently, I've been talking about communication a lot more recently because I just feel as though there isn't enough. Okay, we had 2 weeks where we had no State of the Game, and this is obviously the 3rd week. And, you know, the community, for the most part, is getting a little bit frustrated with the lack of communication. Now, what Chris confirmed is that they are working on episode 3, but they have no info on the show yet. I've got to admit, that's very disappointing. I'll go through what they said first and give my opinions towards the end. They've confirmed that it's frustrating for them when they've got nothing to talk about, i.e. new content as well. So when they come onto shows and, you know, whatever, you know, it does impact them. Going forward, they will likely tell players what the topic is going to be for the upcoming State of the Game before it comes on, and that way they can set expectations. So if you know what the topic is and then you come on and you moan that they're not talking about a certain thing, but that's not the topic they said they would be talking about, well, you've come to watch it, so you should know, essentially. Now, they said State of the Game has become kind of the main point of communication, I'd say, and because of that, they kind of set this expectation that it will always contain new stuff, okay, because that's predominantly where all the new stuff comes from. Now, they sent out a communication survey to the community to understand what the community wants for communication, and I covered this in a previous video. I actually went through the survey as well, and they haven't made any decisions yet, but what they want from this survey is to understand what the overwhelming majority want from communication for them, and how they want it. You know, do they want it in video format? Do they want State of the Game? Do they want articles? Do they want streams? How do they want it, essentially? Now, they also confirmed that some people get frustrated when there is a State of the Game, but they've got nothing to say. And maybe they could consider an article or something on these occasions. So occasions where they simply have nothing to say, maybe they could just, you know, put out an article. We've got a maintenance, these are the priority alerts, that's it. Instead of coming on to State of the Game and basically saying, yeah, these are priority alerts and we've got nothing else to tell you. So, yeah, they haven't made any decisions on that yet. And, of course, they're thinking of different ways of talking to the community, and they are working on a new segment. Now, this is a pilot preview for a new developer Q&A. Okay, and I'm going to insert what they included in the State of the Game so you can see what they are currently working on for this new developer Q&A. So, enjoy.
I'm Trick Dempsey. I am a senior game designer on The Division 2. I mostly work on bounties and in-game content and invasions and projects and that sort of thing.
Amazing. So, as you've already mentioned, you've seen a lot of the questions as well. We've had a lot of questions regarding Cassie and how she works and what does she do within the game.
So Cassie Mendoza is the gunrunner. She appears on a day-and-a-half and daily cycle and gives a wide variety of weapons and gear and stuff to the player available in her shop. She's tightly related to Jared Nash, the Snitch. In order to find Cassie Mendoza, you have to speak to the Snitch, and he will tell you either where she currently is or where she will be appearing next. However, she operates on a schedule that says for 32 hours, she is relocating. She can be found nowhere inside of the world, and then for 24 hours after that, she will be at a set location for that full 24 hours. This 32-hour, 24-hour system alternates constantly, which is really convenient because a week is 168 hours long, and it divides into it evenly. So she's gone for a day and a half, she's up for a day, and ad nauseum on repeat.
My name is Nicky Kuppens, and I'm a senior game designer on The Division 2.
So the reason I'm speaking to you today is you would have seen that there's a lot of discussion about 3 blueprints that were removed in Title Update 6. Is there anything you can tell me about that?
Yeah, those blueprints that we removed were part of the original implementation for upgrading your specialization sidearms. Because you get them at low gear score, we wanted to give you an option to like upgrade those. So that was what those blueprints were for. But later we redesigned how the specialization skill trees worked, and we decided to basically make the upgrading part of that. So those 3 blueprints are just completely redundant because you don't need them anymore. They're not used, so we just hit them for now.
Lastly, the end goal for the developers is that they can get more dynamic info out in an easier and accessible way for everyone. Now, I just want to give my 2 cents here. I understand from the devs' point of view where they're coming from. I completely understand that if you've got nothing to talk about, then it can be frustrating to come on to State of the Game and go, yeah, sorry guys, we've got nothing to talk about. I get it, right? I completely get that. However, when they say they're working on episode 3 and they've got no info yet, that to me is a little bit like, well, you do have info, but you're just not willing to talk about it yet. And I get that, obviously they can't talk about it too far in advance, but the community is screaming out for just something, just some form of just acknowledgement that something is coming. And we know episode 3 is coming, but what people are worried about is what's happened with episode 1 and episode 2, where we've got no replayable content for PvE. We've got 2 missions. If you're a year 1 pass holder, you get 2 classified assignments, and then you get 1 new specialization. People are worried that that's what's coming for episode 3, and that's probably what is coming for episode 3. So people are wanting confirmation that that's not coming for episode 3, and what they're asking from the developers is, are we getting any replayable content for episode 3, or are we going to have to wait till year 2 when we get the paid DLC? That's what the community wants to know. So developers, if you happen to watch this video, just let us know. Are we getting any replayable content for episode 3, or are we not getting? And at least then, if we know, we don't have to, people are going to moan about it if we don't get it, obviously, but they're not going to keep moaning about it because you've made it very clear. Okay, so yeah, that's it anyway. That's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, please support the channel. I did cover yesterday with the whole copper stuff that's coming out. So if you did enjoy this, then really, really appreciate it. And if you stuck around to the end, really, really appreciate it. And until the next one, Epic out.